match day 11. And mind you, that is going to be a very interesting encounter for the MTN Elite 2 teams. They will be playing the last games for this year. And away from that, we go to the Fuvu Azul, and that is it in terms of the fixtures. I will go straight away to look at the standings of the MTN Elite 1 Championship after this particular play over there last week, and where Pool A sees Dynamo of Douala with 24 points already in the second phase of this particular championship after 12 games played, and Canon Sportive of Yaoundé follows with 20 points, Bamboo Tools 19 points, Gazem 17 points, PWG of Bamenda 16 points, Colombe 14 points, Les Astres 14, Union Sportive 12 points, and at the 9th position is Aigle Royal with 12 points. 10th position AS Fortuna. And away from Pool A, we'll go to Pool B, where it is still Stade Renard of the Melon that leads Pool B with 20 points, followed by Coton Sport of Garoua 19 points, Young Sport at the 3rd position with 14 points, UMS of Loom 14 points, Fuvu Club of Baham 13 points, Fuvu Azul 13 points, Avion Academy 12 points, and at the 8th position is Victoria United with 9 points, followed by Apechas of Fufu 7 points so far. And that is it in terms of the standing. I will look at interesting fixtures that are coming up from the 30th of December 2023 in terms of the MTN Elite 1 Championship, who is going to battle who for the last days in the month of December that is coming up. And meanwhile, it is going to be a clash of the season where Victoria United is going to also welcome Fufu Club of Baham in terms of this particular fixtures for Pool A and Pool B of the MTN Elite 1 Championship that is coming up in the days ahead. We are going to be giving you updates for this particular fixtures in the LL Bamu show from tomorrow. And equally, away from the Elite 1 fixtures, we are going to be talking about the Lions, and mind you that there is a communique from the inimitable Lions then that tomorrow, Thursday, 28 December 2023, the Fecafoot, Coach Vigo Besson will be having a press conference, and it's in this press conference that the list of those who are going to be going to Saudi Arabia, it's going to be released in terms of the upcoming African Cup of Nations coming January 13. And mind you that Team Cameroon will be having 2 friendlies for this particular upcoming competition, and they are going to be playing against Guinea and equally Zambia. And mind you that pick up the time for the men and women to why not also go to the Fecafoot head office in Yaoundé for this particular press conference. And equally, the Teranga Lions coach Aloysius will equally be having a press conference still to also pronounce the list of the Teranga Lions that are going to be going to Ivory Coast coming January. And this particular press conference for Senegal is going to be taking place on Friday, the 29th of December 2023. I will look at the program of Team Cameroon from the 28th of December to the 15th of January 2024, where tomorrow, 28th December, is going to be a press release, like I earlier said, where Coach Vigo Besson will be disclosing the list of players that are going to be traveling to Saudi Arabia. And mind you that it is after this particular list that the final list for those who are going to be going to Ivory Coast is going to be made known. Meanwhile, on the 30th of December 2023, the staff and the delegation, including the players that have been called up for the Saudi Arabia trip, would be going. Meanwhile, on Tuesday the 9th of January, the first friendly game against Zambia would be played, and equally the 15th of January, it's going to be the second friendly game between Cameroon and Guinea. And that is it in terms of the preparation to the 2023 African Cup of Nations that will be played in Ivory Coast coming 13th of January to the 11th of February. And away from that, we look at Five Collins that are signed with a new Sabian side there. And mind you that after for so many months without a club, Five Collins now has a club to talk about, and this has actually brought in a lot of talks for if he is going to be among the last list that is going to be going to Ivory Coast. I will look at the Guinness Super League, what has been transpiring in terms of the Guinness Super League. We are going to be looking at the goal chart. Mind you that last year it was 16 goals for this particular Guinness Super League as the highest person has scored. But this time around, still on March day 10th, we have about 13 goals already scored by one person, and that is Kamenyi Injunche Alice from FC Bolowa. And meanwhile, at the second position, it is Yechu Ernestine with 5 goals. What a difference! 13 and 5 goals tells you that indeed this year is a different thing in terms of the Guinness Super League. Meanwhile, at the third position is Mekuto Andrian with 5 goals, Kiki Meba 5 goals, and Lemena 5 goals. Is Henchudu Henesina going to meet up with a difference of 13 to 5 goals as it stands now in the Guinness Super League? We are going to only allow that for the end of this particular 4th season of the Guinness Super League to tell us. And this is it in terms of the sports rundown. And when we come back, we are going to be meeting our guests and equally dissecting the very interesting topics that we are going to be talking on today's edition on High Sport. Do not touch that dial. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you haven't missed a lot in terms of today's edition on High Sport over High Television. And yes, we just talked on the rundowns, and we are going to be meeting one of our guests. He is always here when we call him, and that's no other person than Jamie Ateke. Even though Jamie Ateke ate all the chicken for Christmas and did not invite the High Sport crew. Good evening, and thanks for joining us this evening on High Television.
Yeah, good evening, Sunita. Good evening to Boris, and Merry Christmas to you people.
Thank you very much. So what happened to the chickens?
Well, they are still there.
They are still there. So after this, are you telling us that we have to go and gala in your house?
Well, look, we can go.
Okay.
No, but it's too late.
Not today.
Okay.
No, it's just 2 days away from Christmas. There should be leftovers.
No, they're just over there. Is it by the true by 7:30? By 7:30.
The food will not be sour.
No, so
Anyway,
we living New Year.
Okay, New Year. My viewers are my witness. Promise me that New Year. And equally to my right, it's no other person than Boris Sono, who has always been here. I see him smiling, even though he himself didn't invite me for the Christmas Merry. You're welcome, Boris Sono.
Thank you very much, Lita. Good evening to you, and good evening to all the viewers. It's a pleasure to be with you to talk about sports. Merry Christmas in arrears to you. Happy New Year 2024 in advance to you, Claudine, and all the staff of High Television. We're always here to discuss what is happening in the sport milieu. Unfortunately, Christmas Day I didn't cook. Somebody made achu, but unfortunately failed to invite others when it comes to the traditional meal from those in the northwest region of the country. So I'm still holding her for New Year. Hopefully we'll get the achu and we're going to share the New Year that is coming up in just a few days.
Boris, I know you to be mature to call a spade, but it's okay since you didn't want to disclose who that person is. And yes, today we are going to be talking on our very first topic of today. And before we go to our topic, I think I'm going to leave out the quiz for today's last edition of 2023. It's time for you to win handsome prizes, where we are going to be saying that who are the three coaches that are going to be the 3 local coaches that are going to be taking part in the upcoming African Cup of Nations. And that is it in terms of the quiz. Over to you, Jamie Ateke. We look at a roundup of Body MTN Elite One Championship. Talk to us about the good and ugly moments this year.
Well, normally the MTN Elite Championships, they have actually been positives. You take positives from them, and when you look at the last season, it was one of the seasons which was plagued with so many bad officiating and malpractices of alleged match fixing and all the like protests here and there, sanctions of club presidents, factions of teams, case study, Unisport of Uncam having 2 teams, and the President Monte is now under pressure from the people of Bafang to unite the people of Bafang as far as the Unisport of Uncam team is concerned. You have factions at the level of the Pantero Bangante team, where you have 2 presidents, 2 teams, and so. But however, we have seen a football season or a sports season in Cameroon. It's not only in football that we find the fact that there is wranglings, rifts between stakeholders. We have even the Volleyball Federation also had its own squabbles between the outgoing president and the incumbent, and so it had to delay the volleyball championship, which was supposed to begin in June and had to begin in August because of the rift between the stakeholders, and it had to lead to the intervention of the Africa Volleyball Federation to come in to fix things for the volleyball championship. However, Cameroon still finished third in that particular competition, so it has been a calendar year with good, the good, the bad, the ugly. We also saw the Ballon d'Or coming into play, second of its kind. After last football season, we saw how we saw the fanfare, the organization proper. It was actually good, and we asked ourselves, this should be part of football when football has been recognized for their performance. It gives footballers competition to want to always be there, want to always give themselves more to play football. And we saw it, though there were other controversies in the case of Che Malong vis-a-vis not coming, was reminded late. Some sources are saying he had the best chance to win the award, but the call was late. That is why Simba SC could not release the player at the time when they were about to play a crucial game the weekend. So you see that all these things come into football, they play. But credits to the organization of the championships, divisional championships. We saw how here in the Southwest region, 2 clubs had to withdraw from the Southwest Championship for poor officiating and alleged match fixing. I'm talking of Option Sport and Jaraguan Sports Academy. But however, the championship still went on smoothly, and we had the champion of Isosa who went out all the way to actually bring back another elite ticket. So it has been really been a good season though for Cotton Sports of Garwa too, who went to the African Champions League, came back and could not gather a single point from their 6 group games. Yes, they were put in a group where it was a group of death against Al Hilal of Sudan, Sundowns and Sundowns and the likes of Al Ali, which was very difficult for them to actually cope based on competition and preparedness. So it was a lesson for one, poor officiating. 2, we still need a championship which is competitive, like what we have with the issue of Cotton Sports of Garwa going for Africa. And number 2, we also have to have solidarity for our football, like the case of Bambutu Buddha. where they actually were denied the CAF licenses, which prevented them from qualifying for the CAF Confed Cup, which indeed was not a good solidarity from the federation. We saw Al Ali being pushed by the Egyptian FA, despite the fact that they finished, I think, fourth, but they produced them as their champions or reps for the CAF Champions League, and they went on to win it. So we must have that solidarity. When it comes to football, football is one, and so you can't actually take that solidarity. There must be that oneness to occur in our football. Though we know there are some people who don't like the present Fecafoot, but you will see that it's time for reconciliation. Looking at what is happening at Unisport Oncam, it's not a good thing to write home about. With the fact that the population and the mayor of Bafang is calling on Monty to bring the people together, is under pressure and he has run out of cash, and so all that put together, you understand that it's not helping things for our football. Likewise, Panther of Days also suffering the same issue, which has to be addressed. So all this put together, however, the championship was still a success, and we've seen how the players entertain the fans, and we've seen also. So there are so many things which we
definitely definitely. No, I think you have given a wrap up of nearly everything, but there is this very pertinent question I want to ask you. You spoke about Tim Malone not being available because of the club and all that. Now, do you know that before the player of the year was even pronounced, we had some sources that were already speculating that it was going to be Lionel Ateba, but unfortunately it was Mahab that got it. Now, to you, if you were to be given a pen to rewrite history, what will you change in terms of the second edition of the Cameroon Ballon d'Or? Any category?
Well, for awards, yes, the awards were based on controversies, yes. But if you look at Chemalong, you look at criteria to classify
the players
as nominations for this award. You look at the individual performance of the player, you look at how the player impacts positively in terms of the group, you look at his positive contribution on the field. Now look at Chemalong, he contributed, he had an impact
last year with Koto
in terms of leadership qualities.
Okay.
If you watch when Jean-Baptiste Bisset came in, he gave him the captaincy and said, okay, lead the team in the latter stages of the season, and they went all to win the Elite One Championship. So you look at all that; those are qualities built, and you also look at the fact that he led his team to his performance throughout the season was second to none, despite the fact that Coton Sport was poor in Africa, but always give his all in terms of player rating. So you look at all that put together. So he was really a top man to win the prize, and the fact that he was being bought, because mind you, Emmanuel Mahop had left Cameroon after his successes at Cameroon of Yaoundé, but he came back. So it tells you that he found it difficult to face competition out of Cameroon. But if you find Chemalong going out to Tanzania and he's being hailed as one of the key pillars of the club, it gives you the opportunity to tell you that such a player is valuable and can be given the best player in Cameroon based on his consistency and his confidence, which his new team has given to him, and he's a starter, he's not a fringe player. So that gives you why he is the best. But with the controversy saying that he was informed 2 days to the event, where you know when you want to call a player for such awards, you need to follow bureaucratic protocols to ensure that the club releases the player on time. So that which the Cameroon Football Authorities failed to do, and his entourage, his report said that his entourage said the club cannot release the player because they were informed late. So that if Bisek was given an award, why he was not there, then
Yeah,
Malone
yeah, that's
too
true. That's
should
true.
have been giving his own award. Maybe make a video. We've seen players even at the international scene being given awards to um, players who do not attend
The
the
award.
ceremony. So that's professionalism. But if public opinion were saying he was the one who won, but he was like robbed, I think Mawad, he scored the 15 goals for Canon of Yaoundé, had some assists. But this season in Coton Sport, he managed just 2 goals. So it shows that he has dropped. Yes, he went out and came back, so it shows he dropped. So, but Malone has been consistent. So there
To
is
you.
controversies, but it happens everywhere. Yes, it happens everywhere. So that is how.
So to you, if there is one thing you should change in this year, is that you would have given the best player to Che Malone. Is that what you are saying?
Yeah, it deserves from the facts on the ground. You select such a player.
Very important. I mind you that it's a wrap up of the year, and Boris Sono, same to you. What have been the good and the ugly times in terms of be it even our regional level, the Faco League as well, the Elite 1 and 2 championship? What can you say has been the bad and the ugly moments?
Thank you very much, Sonita. First of all, I will just pick up from the last point on the aspect of the Ballon d'Or. I read it as one of the good and bad moments.
Okay.
Good because we're seeing the Ballon d'Or coming back. Good because we're seeing the players, the stakeholders being honored. It's not easy for the players to go the whole season and at the end of the day, they are not being honored. It's important that at every point in time, we get to honor the stakeholders, be it the coaches, highest goal scorer, best player, or what have you. And this year equally, we got the good moments in terms of getting the referees also being honored. Remember that the referees have been bashed left, right, center in Cameroon football. Then when you see them being honored at that grand stage, it shows that they can be as pure as white.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we know circumstances will not permit because of what you and I know goes on as far as the sporting milieu is concerned. So I think the Ballon d'Or is one of my good moments, and equally bad because of many will say the controversy. I don't see it as a controversy. I don't see Che Malone as a Ballon d'Or winner. Sorry to disappoint many. No, not necessarily. Especially, we are discussing on points and not necessarily on opinions or what I hate Jamie. No. We're just looking at the fact. Remember, we had a discussion here before the Ballon d'Or, and I made it categorically clear that Emmanuel Mahop to me is the Ballon d'Or winner. And remember, I made it clear that the voting process was done in a kind of way where it wasn't always shown per se who is leading and who is not leading.
Definitely.
So there you can see that maybe things might have gone behind stage and so on and so forth. But I followed the initial process of the Ballon d'Or nominee, and the Ballon d'Or nomination was strictly for last football season. Strictly last football season. So even if you are performing poorly to this season, it doesn't count.
Okay.
So if Che Malone is playing as good as he's doing in Simba, it doesn't count. Only last football season. And I was shocked, Sonita.
No, I think go ahead. But I think I should cut you short. If you are emphasizing on last football season, we saw what Che Malone did during the playoffs in Douala. I think that if we are looking at such performances, then that should be one of the moments to try to measure up the level between him and Mahop.
No, like I told you last time, the two Ballon d'Or winners to me, Emmanuel Mahop number 1 and Che number 2.
Okay.
That was my first and 2, and I voted like that. I know many people were like, you should vote Ballon, you should vote Che. No. Che was good, no doubt. But I cannot rank Che at the level on which Emmanuel Mahop carried Canon.
Definitely.
From last football season. Canon was a shadow of itself 2 seasons back. And for Emmanuel's goal to lead Canon to that level, to me, revelation. I would have given revelation equal if he was in that box. So I saw him as someone who was almost, and it's not like single-handedly, but almost single-handedly took Canon from where they were to that point. Yes, they didn't finish as the winner. Coton finished as a winner, but I saw him as one of the personalities who deserved to be awarded the Ballon d'Or. Like I said, I think nothing away from Che. Che had a good season with Coton Sport. Was one of the generals at the back line of Cotton Sport. But when I want to rank the two guys, I think to me I give it to Emmanuel Mahop, and that's why I see that Emmanuel Mahop deserves that Ballon d'Or and not Che Malong. Yes, many were talking about this aspect. I know Kick Forward to carry it on minutes or so before
Yeah.
and I don't want I hold Kick Forward to hard because I've been a writer and I'm equally sometimes a guest writer
Okay.
on the platform. I don't want to bash them, but sometimes we cannot really say it is true or false. We can only speculate because they too say they had a
Insider,
source
yeah.
that does not lie.
But they
to
the
tell
source
you,
lied.
so you know that's what I'm saying, that you cannot judge now that the source was lying or not, because I think the another information they put out was like, okay, now that many are saying that Lionel Atiba is going to win, they made a comment equally again that Fecafoot might go back and change that and not give it to Lionel Atiba.
No,
So
but
now, no, I'm just saying, because that's the two instance that came out the day before that Ballon d'Or, I think
Okay.
a minute or so. The first article came out that Lionel Atiba will win it, and they came out again with their comments, not an article, but comments afterward, that Fecafoot might come out again and see, as they are getting the bashing of Lionel Atiba winning, they might change the vote to giving out to Emmanuel Mahop or something else. So, with all those controversies, it just goes down to water down the Ballon d'Or. And the second aspect that I think many people are trying to push under the carpet, and I think it's something that is very dicey, something that really spoiled, not necessarily spoiled, but gave a bad name to the Ballon d'Or, and equally gave a bad name to the Cameroon Football Federation of Fecafoot. Remember that a certain Mr. Frank Happy, when they were talking about this issue of Ballon d'Or, made it categorically clear, and the excerpts are there. I don't know why some people are trying to hide it, but the excerpts are there, that the winners of the Ballon d'Or go home with a car.
true.
And you remember when we saw the
Yes,
beautiful
yeah.
car,
Yeah, we said
when the
car.
Ballon d'Or was ongoing,
Yeah.
we saw two beautiful cars, and many were quick online to go and say that's the car that the winners are going to go home
Go
with.
home.
But we're going to find out that that was a partnership or sponsorship, because that car company that is in charge of supplying the Nissans and all in Cameroon is in a partnership with Cameroon, and they were out there to show the brand new
Showcase.
car,
Yeah, that's
to
true.
showcase the cars that they are on offer in the Cameroonian scene. So many people were quick online to say those are the vehicles that the Ballon d'Or winners are going to go home with, and unfortunately the Ballon d'Or winners didn't go with the car. And we're still asking, where is the car? And Fecafoot, I think in the side comments I've been getting from officials, that there was no statement. And that's what begs the question. See, to be sincere sometimes, you see the beautiful cars that were on offer, and so many people were like, this is the car that we're going to get from the...
But we say
so I think a lot of side comments,
just
I
to
think
add to that,
the other thing that needs to be done, first of all, there needs to be a clear-cut communication. I think that needs to really be done, because if you look at even the Ballon d'Or pamphlet, it shows that clearly, car on offer. So the person who typed that thing didn't really communicate with Fecafoot, and Fecafoot too failed to communicate clearly as to what Mr. Frank Happy had told reporters as far as the Ballon d'Or winners are concerned, getting a car. So I think that's just one of the bad moments that we've gotten as far as the Ballon d'Or is concerned. But like I said, the Ballon d'Or is a good initiative. We hope that it's going to continue for next year and the years to come, and equally we're having a specified date, so that when the season finishes, we know that this is the day that the Ballon d'Or is going to be coming up, because even France 24, the owners of the, in quote, Ballon d'Or title, they know, they tell you beforehand when the Ballon d'Or is going to be given, the venue and everything that goes about as far as the Ballon d'Or is concerned. So I think that's just one of the bad moments that we got. And in terms of another good news, I think the good aspect that we have to look at it has to do from the aspect of the championship. The championship has been going on, I will not say categorically 100%, but I think I would want to point at the aspect of the calendar of activities. Remember, for the past couple of years, we've been talking about calendar of activities as far as Fecafoot is concerned, that we don't get to see the calendar of activity. And I think this year we know when it is the championship is going to conclude.
Yeah.
We know when the second phase of the championship is going to start. The league is going to end the first phase in January. By the end of January, we're going to have the second phase. So all those things are there, which makes life easy for all the football stakeholders who are involved as far as the championship is concerned. Remember that this year we have 5 teams. I think there's still an issue as to how many teams are going to go down from the Elite One Football Championship and so on and so forth. But according to the calendar that FECAFOOT released, 5 teams are going to go down from the championship. The second phase will involve almost a singular tournament where the last 5 teams are going to go down to the Elite Two Football Championship, and the first at the end of the day wins the title. Another thing that I saw as good moment has to be the aspect of players moving out of the league to international clubs. And the good aspect from this point of view comes from the Guinness Super League. I don't know how many if you want to tally, but more than 10 players from the Guinness Super League moved to professional clubs in France, to first divisional club in France. And just recently we are getting another information about another player from the Guinness Super League that is moving to a club out there in France. And we're also getting information about Frank Aksama of Bambutu Sefsumbuda, who has gotten trials out there in Porto. I think it's Porto, so by the club out there in Portugal for a test. And why not at the end of that test he might be selected. But unfortunately, the bad news that Sport Glaze is reporting is the fact that FECAFOOT is yet to respond to the transfer for Aksama to go out of Cameroon. So you see, those are some of the bad aspects that when we talk about the fact that we're getting good players who are moving out of the country, showing that our league is becoming more professional. We're getting players move from the local leagues or from the elite level to professional clubs out there as far as the European continent is concerned. But when we get this other side comments about this not going well for the club, I think it puts a bad image on the league. The bad aspect that I want to talk about has to do with this aspect. It's a good and bad. Good and bad in the sense that we're getting the aspect of marketing. I think marketing is trying to be improved because for God knows how long we're talking about this aspect of marketing for clubs, that they have to go about doing their marketing for themselves, because a club, you talk about Real Madrid, you talk about Manchester City, Barcelona, Arsenal. Most of them survive most of the time, and Arsenal, with the sponsorship. Only this I think it's Etihad or so. How much does Etihad pump in a year? 60 million or so. Divide that by France CFA. That's even the budget of the whole federation. Just to tell you about one sponsorship deal for a club out there in Europe. So I'm happy that we're starting to see that level of clubs going as far as marketing is concerned. But the other bad part now has to do with, I don't want to say force, but the federation is trying to make the teams to be more professional. And that's why you see the main sponsor is MTN. You have Tiof. You have 1xBet. So the other sponsors of the league. That's why you see Tiof. You have TFP. Back jersey you have for 1xBet, and the main jersey you have MTN. And you ask yourself a question now. So where does the other sponsors of the club come in? They'll say, okay, you put it on the right chest. Is that the only sponsor that the team has? What about the main sponsor of a team that wants to take the front of the jersey that MTN is taking? So I think those are things that the clubs really, the disagreement that they've been going about. Remember that Dinamo had to blur canals on their jersey with tape. Others had to go back and do another jersey just to comply. Others have 2 main sponsors on the front t-shirt, which FECAFOOT has said no, you have to remove, even the Sosa equally. So those are things that are good, but unfortunately many look at it as bad because of the fact that the club don't know how much at the end of the day MTN is giving as a main sponsor of that jersey. And the last bad aspect I want to talk about has to do with the chaos that we've seen with some teams involved in the championship. Nearest is dearest. Talk about Victoria United. Despite the professionalism that the club has been doing, and I must state this fact, Victoria United is one of the most professional clubs when it comes about doing
the business one, making sure that in as much as players will still grumble behind, and I know you know, but the way they go about making sure that the players are professional, bus service is there. I think the hostel for the players is about being completed. Yeah. They recently unveiled the gym, which they may show the players training.
Yeah.
So all those things show a level of professionalism in which a club wants to do. But we cannot forget the fact that the team failed to turn out for their game against Apache Fu. That really goes a long way to show how unprofessional some clubs are and some officials are, who feel like they can come today and tomorrow they don't show up. Right. UMS equally, day one they fail to show up. UMS equally fail to show up with a good jersey, and UMS is noted for that. So there are a lot of things that have been going about as far as like Jimmy says, if we want to talk about the positives and the negative, we can be here till tomorrow. And the last positive I want to talk about has to do with the aspect of Bafmen United.
Okay.
Isusa.
I think we're going to be coming to that.
No, I'm talking about the good and bad.
Okay,
in terms of good. Remember that Bafmen and Isusa were promoted this year.
Very
and
true.
I don't know if I was expected, but I think most of them have caught me off guard in terms of the level of that they've carried about their activity. Yes, Isusa had a blip when they traveled out of the region. They lost their 2 games against Dragon, against UMS, and equally the second phase hasn't really gone well, but I think the last game was very effective for them. But Bafmen United, despite the fact that they lost in the office, they've not lost any game on the field. At the moment, they've not lost any game on the field, despite the fact that they have a defeat, but on the field, they haven't lost any game. And I think I have to give credit to, I just forgotten the coach's name at the moment. The former coach of PWG Bamenda was brought in. Martin Cabio. I was been very terrific with Bafmen United. So I think Isusa has really caught my eyes, and I would really love the 2 sides to finish as far as the players' position are concerned. But the unfortunate person now that has been losing, unfortunately they went to church, but the blessing didn't really go well
for
to them. Rangers of Bafo.
Rangers, sorry.
But I think Rangers this year really wasn't really the year. Hopefully that I think I don't see them qualifying again for the playoffs. Hopefully they can really try their best and avoid relegation as far as the next phase of the championship is concerned.
Thank you very much. That was so explicit, Boris Esono. And before we get to talk on the next topic of today, let me just remind our viewers for the quiz in the terms of the question. And there goes the question: how many home-based coaches will be involved in the upcoming African Cup of Nations 2023? Name at least 4. How many home-based coaches will be involved in the upcoming AFCON 2023? And name at least 4 of them. And that is it for the quiz. And this particular quiz is going to be closed by 7:15. And that is when I'm not going to be taking answers in respect to this particular quiz. Imagine that it's going to be very interesting if you send in your contributions. And yes, over to you, Jemia Teke. We'll go straight away to our second topic of discussion today, where we are going to be looking at new babies in both the MTN Elite 1 and 2 Championship. And when we talk about new babies, we'll be precise with Bafmen United, Isle of Hope Sports Academy, and Victoria United. Have these particular 3 sides inspired you, or have they brought in new changes that you think that were missing in some years back, or what do you think that this team can have at the end of the season?
Well, I think for this season you find that the 2 teams they have actually done more than expected from the fans and the observers. You understand that Isusa and Bafmen United, I will start with Bafmen. You see that when they came to the Interpol, they had their first sponsorship. I think the Society Bank in Bafmen that sponsored their trip. And we saw the mobilization
of
which
the population
they had together, and the population. And they came in, that's the first time since I think 1985 where we had a team from their area that I think that's Menchum or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a kind of revival in terms of football sports in that particular community. So you see the way they went to a coach who had, though the coach that qualified them,
Simplis
went to Pantera one day and they had to bring in Cabio to come in. And Cabio knows the Northwest Regional football very well. He has coached the 3 top clubs in that particular region. So it was not really a kind of hard thing to do for him, or a hard job for him to actually come in to implement. So he just had to come in and arrange things, and the team had to pick from where they left at the level of national interpose. Not playing close to about 10, 11 games without a defeat is to tell you how far they are going with their business, and they are really determined to actually go to the level of the playoffs. But I tell you something, the playoffs is a different ball game. Yes, you might be playing whatever you are playing, but they are still the top dogs when it comes to Elite 2. Egli Dumongo, FAP, those are the top dogs. So, but we just put them well as far as the playoffs is concerned, or the league is concerned. It's just 2-3 days of play remaining for the first phase of the championship before the second round. Now, coming to Isosa 2, they too have done good business. I love their out communication to the public, to win the fans. I was shocked that we went to the game, the Lions game of 2000. We saw that we could cite at least 10 people putting on Isosa JC.
Yeah, very
That's
true.
Good public relation for their club, to create their awareness, to make people take action, to get their gadgets, to get their JCs. That's good mobilization. And so that's what we need for our clubs. It's not all about having the financial resources, but how you go and communicate and relate with the outside public for them to take action to get whatever they want to get for your service. And that's what Isosa is doing, which they are succeeding. Now, they went and did good business, getting best players in the region. Jefta came in, Juma came in from Popo,
Victoria United.
Ben Jouet came in from Popo. So, what the mistake they did was that they didn't get targeted by experienced players. The reasons why when they went to Njiku, they went to Dragon and Edin, they couldn't pick up points.
Yeah, very
because
true.
I made a clear cut that a team that went close to 14 games without a defeat from June to that point before they played Dragon, consider just 3 goals, and you go and consider five goals in 2 games against Dragon and Edin. It shows there is that level of inexperience within the club. I am still amazed why that inexperience hasn't affected Bafman United, though they have played away matches, but I think it affected Isosa very significantly. Looking at when they went to Dragon, they lost 1 goal to nothing. They were used to these players, they bought the best legs, but now Juma looks more experienced because he has played with the Popo, but you can't measure him, you can't carry, he has not reached that level where you can carry a club behind him. Yes, you go out and bring maybe a player like, you could say, okay, let me sign a player like Kemajo, sign a player like Mamuso. They come in, those are players, those are guys who can galvanize in terms of experience, because they play elite football. Elite football is not all about talent, it comes with experience and exposure. Now these players have been exposed to the regional level, majority of them. But now, in terms of exposure out of the region, that's where I caught up with Isosa. Yes, they could be able to win Leopard away. Leopard is limping. But when you talk of teams with caliber, with experience, talk of Dragon, Edin, Panther, those are teams which they have the experience playing elite football, and that's what Isosa failed to have. So I believe that they are going on the fine foot, but they should use whatever window is being given to them before the playoffs and regroup, get experienced talents who have played elite football for some time to gel with what they have currently. They have the best talent. Jefta is a good talent, Ben Jouet is a good talent, Juma is a good talent, Gange Wilson is a good talent, but their experience is what is cutting them. That's why they have to go 5 games without a win. Yes, it might not be the immediate point for why they had that poor run of form, but it counts as a factor. Though they are saying unpaid bonuses, ringing and the coaches cannot do whatever. But when you look at it from an observation point of view, they fail to get experienced players to gel with what they have. But however, the Picks team, after Nduku came in, that 4-0 spanking over Yopa Odwala, which has put them maintain the top 4 position. I think that's a right step towards the right direction. We just, I think, close to about 4 or 5 games to left for this first phase. But to say they can go and win the championship, I would say no. But playing the playoffs champions is an achievement. Because there you are guaranteed your status at the level of the elite championship. But when you are playing the playoffs down, you are not guaranteed because there things might change. So I think finishing top 4 for Isosa and Bafmen, it is big achievement. Yes, they might go and win it. It's an added surplus, but just finishing in those top 4 places for me is really an achievement, and they should use this season to prepare better for next football season and say, okay, we've come to the elite championship, we've seen, we've saw, and we've almost conquered. How then can we strategize for next football season? I think that should be their plan of action. So I wish them well, and the management, like I said, that's why I make a comparative analysis between the two of them. I think among these two Southwest clubs, Popo and Isosa. Popo has the resources, they do their business, but when it comes to the business aspect, the marketing aspect, Isosa outshines Popo for that. Because when you talk of, yes, they might be building players' hostels and so forth, they have that resources, but when it comes to exposure, I think Isosa is far better than what Popo has. I just wish Popo stand up in terms of their communication and marketing aspects. They can go places, but I think Isosa is doing a great job.
And that is it for Isosa. In Jemia's take words, you are doing well, and that doesn't mean that you should learn your effort. But now I'll stay with you, Jemia Take. There is this internal problem with Isosa. We're speaking to some of the players. They have been crying foul in terms of salaries, in terms of boycotting training sessions. Do you think that this can go a long way if the club does not do what it takes to satisfy these players, hindering them from going to the playoffs?
Yeah, they have problem. I started seeing that last week on that platform. We discussed this issue of bringing the code in. I was like,
and suspending Coach Len.
I go going the cool way of bringing the first of all Mapu, but again the will and we born Nduku. So I predicted it that Nduku and Len might not
definitely
work together, because Nduku is coming from a place where he was king. I'm talking
he too wants to learn
Lionesses.
Yeah.
While Len has led this team from scratch
definitely
to where they are, so they can't really work. So when I heard that Nduku is coming to give a helping hand, I laughed. But however, when you look at it, those are rumors. It's not yet confirmed, because when you listen to one side, they will tell you the facts are founded.
But that's what I'm saying, that I spoke to the players.
No, the players confirmed that.
Okay.
Bonuses. Even one player even said he paid his transfer fee from his
himself
to
the team,
to Isosa. Well, I told him that it's confidential. I will not mention his name.
Definitely.
He paid monies for his transfer. When you look at all that, it's coming from the players. I had contact with another player. Say, because I asked him, normally it's my man. But now they give us. He said they have not paid them. They never pay you. Good. So you see that if players are complaining, it shows that something was wrong somewhere. So that's why when you read the communication, the coach has been suspended for poor result, yes, unprofessional conduct.
He's not thinking.
When the Len actually have professional conduct, they say he was putting some players which he loved, those he brought from Anafoot. He's an Anafoot coordinator.
Yeah, very true.
He preferred putting his Anafoot players on the pitch,
Over.
those were alleged gossips behind the scenes. But however, he denied all those, and he is still claiming up to today in other platforms that he has not yet received the suspension letter. That what he saw on social media is maybe to him is propaganda. But however, there are problems. Is the way you manage it. There are problems which are going, and I love the way they are managing it. Yes, it's not as pop up like what we have with people where when it's people
Everybody has to
want
know.
but the way they manage it. I don't know whether it's because the people believe that maybe your people they are just play with. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just for the clubs to understand that this is a championship. I think the federation, like I said, the federation has a role to play. These issues of clubs not paying, yes, that this setting a minimum wage for clubs. I think the federation, if a sponsor of a club is coming to sponsor a club and you refuse that club from putting that sponsor in front of their jerseys, I think that's not being biased. In football is two-way communication. The clubs are stakeholders. In the Premier League, the clubs are stakeholders, which means from the start of the Premier League, 20 clubs, they have 20 stakeholders. Now, at the end of the season, 3 of those stakeholders draw and 3 climb up, where they hold an evaluatory meeting at the start, before the start of the championship, and make different amendments for how the championship is going to kickstart. That's how it's been done in England. But now you look at the Cameroonian setting, that's not what is done. Subvention is assistance. Sponsorship deal is a right
For the
for
clubs.
the club to have subvention deals. I mean, sponsorship deals. Now, if you tell a club that the league sponsor should be in your phone jersey, the clubs have the right
Not
to
to.
know what among the
They
main
are going to
sponsors
give.
are being paid.
Yeah.
That's a right of the club. But subvention is assistance. We should try to distinguish between subvention and sponsorship money.
Sponsorship.
Sponsorship money is different from subvention. That's why FECAFOOT or the federation is or the organizers, the transitional technical committee, they are mistaken. The clubs themselves are being confused whether which one is
subvention
because
or-
just give the money. They
Very
don't even
true.
talk about the subvention or whatever. Don't differentiate. They have to differentiate the subvention and the sponsorship money. That is where these clubs are also failing, because once a club is not professionally binded, they don't understand that they are stakeholders in the championship. That's one thing these clubs fail to understand. That's why I have the association of elite clubs. They are supposed to be stakeholders, where stakeholders, they determine, it's a business.
How? Yeah.
The league is a business whereby the stakeholders come into play, discuss the vision of the business, which is the football league. And once they discuss that at the start of the championship, they know that this is what is coming from sponsorship deals and this is what is coming from subvention. But these clubs did not do that. We saw how the clubs split it.
Yeah.
They went and
Before
formed another
the league could start.
and then some were saying that they will not play the championship. that alone makes FECAFOOT now to penetrate and do whatever they want to do, and the clubs are tempted to
be
follow
beggars.
whatever FECAFOOT
Very
says
true.
or whatever the federation says. So the club is a waking call for the clubs. Yes, we've had numerous clubs, not only Asosa, not only Opopo. We've heard from Renaissance and Kumo. We've heard from Peter from Meda. Even Yosa.
Yes.
There's a player in Yosa who inboxed me and told me that he has not been given a contract. He doesn't know what he's doing in Bamenda. So all that it's a cancer that is eating up. Then now the clubs have to sit and re-strategize. The league has to make these clubs understand that the people are professionals.
Definitely.
Go out there, do business, get resources.
Sponsors.
Now if the federation is not accountable, it becomes difficult for the clubs to get accountable. I mean, to get
Sponsors.
good sponsors who come in. Yes, some of the clubs have their kind of sponsors who they have, but when you have a sponsor that can cost you 400 million in a season, that's good business. So the clubs, I think they have to re-strategize. If you look at their budget, look at Cotton Sport 700 million, look at football 300. Now you look at the others, start coming with 100. You see, only the budget alone tells you that things, and those budgets are budgeted based on what Fecafoot gives them.
Very true.
And what they have to in their coffers and from their minor sponsors which they have. So it's not even enough to carry them throughout the season. Because now, if you have to play close to 16 games in the first phase, then you play again maybe at most 7 games or 8 in the playoffs, be it 12 champions or playoffs relegation. You understand that the expenditure is far outshines what you have as, and they're working on deficit. And then the Fecafoot also has to make sure that these clubs get their monies on time in terms of those who win the championship and the subvention.
Not longer the
Because
3 years, the 4 years.
this is another thing which kills the club.
Very true.
And the club also depend too, on the other hand, they think that they will use the subvention to pay players. That's why at the end of the day they start complaining. We hear when the league was going on recess for the first phase of the first round of the first phase, we had clubs saying that they will boycott. But they did not boycott because they are not united. Because if you are united, like I said, once you are united, when you see yourself as a stakeholder in an organization like the league body, you have a say. This is what the clubs have not been able to grab. I don't know whether they know what they have to do, or they don't have the personnel who can ginger them towards this particular issue. Well, like someone said, if they cannot pay players, can they pay communication expert or a marketing expert to come and give them what they have to do? That's a billion-dollar question.
Thank you very much, Jamie Ateke, for why not giving us an evaluation of Isosa, Bafma United, and equally Victoria United as new babies in terms of this year's championship, both in the M10 Elite 1 and 2. And over to you, Boris Esono. I know you have touched Bafma United and equally Victoria United. Maybe you want to tell us in terms of some new appraisals for Isle of Hope Sports Academy.
Well, in terms of Isosa, I think they've been a good side. Like I said earlier, they surprised me from the start, picking up wins in the first couple of games. They made the stumbling blocks in Njikoso, where they picked up a draw in Limbe, and afterward they went to Douala, picked up a victory against the Leopards Sportif of Douala, went to Yaoundé. That's when problems started, where they lost to Dragon, West lost to UMS of Loom, and the last game that they played against ISA FAP of Yaoundé, it was a draw, and I was quite surprised with respect to that game because Isosa had a lot of opportunities in that particular encounter against ISA FAP of Yaoundé, but surprisingly, it's like the players didn't really have their shooting shoes on, had shots wide, shots over the crossbar, and so on and so forth, and at the end of the day, it was a draw. But this second phase hasn't really gone like the first phase, but it has been put like not bad per se, but a mixed bag of results as far as that the second phase is concerned. The last game against the opponents really smooth. I loved the way they played, the pass you saw, the momentum in which they had. They were like they had lost 5 games and they wanted a victory. And this a particular game, and luckily for them, against a Leopard, it was a victory. And many were like they had to score about 6 in that particular game, but it was really an important game for them because if they had failed to pick up a victory in that game, they would have almost been now on the 5th position, because if you look at Panther is just 2 points behind Isosa at the moment with respect to that last 4th spot for the playoffs. And like Jamie says, fight to be amongst the top 4, because if you're among the top 4, you know that you don't want to fight relegation. You're already assured that you're going to be in Elite 2 next football season. Whether you win the league or not, you are going to be maintaining your state 2 as far as Elite 2 is concerned. So I've been very impressed for Isosa's first season. They started well right up from the regional league to the mini Interpool, to the national Interpool, to the Elite 2 football championship. But unfortunately, they made a blip in Dragon and made a blip in UMS, and equally against ISA FAP in their last game for round 1. But I think the surprise package this year, you know, we've been giving credit to this guy for God knows how long. He's one of the top goal scorers in the league this year. Conrad Ikosenjuma. He left Victoria United to Isusa, and many were like, can he live up to the hype that many people have been giving to him? And the surprising thing last time around was that Fekafu came out, or CTFP, the league in charge, the body in charge of organizing football, came out with the top goal scorers chart. Isusa Conrad wasn't there.
Yeah, very true.
Surprisingly, equally, there's another guy, Are Jefta, who has scored 4 goals. So I think the business, like Jamia says, that Isusa did this year, quite top notch. If you want to rank them with Victoria United, I say Victoria United did a poor business. If you want to rank the two with quality, I'm not talking about what Victoria United is doing off the pitch. We're talking about on the pitch. You cannot compare Victoria United and Isusa with the business that they did. I think we put these two sides, Isusa has a high probability of winning that game against Victoria United. If the two sides match like man to man, Isusa can easily win the game because of the quality and the tactical disposition that they are playing. Put Jefta in any side, almost 90% of the day, Jefta comes man of the match. Any day. If you ask yourself, who can Victoria United come any day in their side? One person comes to mind. G. Remember, this guy has 9 goals. The first day of play against Fuva Zoo, I interviewed him. What the aim of the season, he says clearly, I want to finish top of the goal scorers. And they suddenly setting Jules Amanko that is above G at the moment. So Richmond G has been very terrific. That's, to me, one of the, I don't know if he was a former player or so, but that's a business. If you want to look at the previous seasons, that's the business that Victoria United has really done. And if they market this guy, like Jamie was talking about it earlier, the marketing that Isusa is doing is way ahead than the marketing that Victoria United is doing with a smaller budget. If Isusa had the budget which Victoria United had or has, I think they would have gone places. So I think Victoria United really needs to know how to market Richmond G, because if you look at what happened with top goal scorer, we talk about Emmanuel Mahop, he went out, but unfortunately could not sell transfer out, and he signed for Cotton with a bumper deal. So Victoria United should be looking at tapping and selling players. We're not saying that the president doesn't have money, he has, but any club must be on the basis of selling. You cannot, we talk about Cotton Sport every year, right? How much does Cotton Sport make?
Millions.
Just by selling one player.
Millions.
We talk about a certain Chemalong. How much was the Simba pay to get Chemalong?
And just to tell you
Simba
that
came with the first offer.
Fadil will be
Fadil
sold out.
Almost going out. Simba came with the first offer. Cotton turned it down, and that's a deal which, to me, most clubs
another team would have taken.
Would have been going for.
Very
the Cotton
true.
State is gone. That no, Chemalong is a top-notch player. If you are not bringing this offer, we are not listening to you. So I think that's a deal which, that's an avenue in which Victoria United needs to be looking forward to. And I think that's the avenue in which Isusa is going about. But unfortunately, they don't have that finance and that strength in which Victoria United has. And talking about that, the saga that is ongoing at the moment, you know, all clubs go through the same problem. I don't know any club, except Cotton Sport, if I may be mistaken, that goes about this aspect of they have not been paid. So, I think Canon is trying, because you know Canon has a lot of sponsors, Boli and so on. You don't get to hear much problems out of Canon. There are, I think, a handful of clubs, about 5 or so, who are trying their best. A certain Dinamo who signed the Galacticos, but we heard about problems that they've not been paid. Players have not been paid from Dinamo of Douala. So it's almost, it cuts across the whole club. Isusa is not left out. But like Jamie says, the way they've handled their business is not the way Victoria United has been handling its own business.
Very true.
And like I said earlier, there are personalities who will never like good things coming out of Victoria United. Let's face fact. Whether Victoria United signs who, they will never be happy, because they are bent on seeing Victoria United going down. Isusa is just, I think the good face is that many people are not against Isusa. That's the only good aspect to me. That many people are not against Isusa like they're against Victoria United. Because if it was Victoria United, I bet you, the president of Victoria United or Isusa will not be sleeping at the moment about things coming out of that particular club. But unfortunately, the way the president of Victoria went about his activity, that's why many people are against him, and you see any day maybe bad things will be coming out. So I think the aspect of players not being paid, I think cuts across the whole club, and we're hoping that this is going to be regularized. And the aspect of the coach Lenny May, first of all, I must congratulate Coach Lenny May for having taken Isosa from regional football to elite football. We must give him credit for that, and his name will ever be etched in Isosa's history. Definitely. As one of the first coach, even Isosa is relegated which year or the first coach to have taken Isosa to elite level stays Len Emi. You cannot change that. His name is already there. But there comes a time when things must change. We talk about Nottingham Forest. Remember, I've forgotten the name of the coach who took Nottingham Forest to to the league, to the Premier League. After poor result, what happened? Nuno Espirito Santos has been brought in. So every management will not want to see the side. Sheffield United is under problems now, and there's a report that the coach might be sacked any moment from now. So it's even Burnley equally. Burnley is under serious issue at the moment. Yes, this guy had a very good time around as far as his career with Manchester City is concerned. But Vincent Kompany. But his coaching exploit in the Premier League hasn't really gone well, and that's where you see rumors saying that he might be sacked. So any management, any club, when things are not going well, the natural point of view that is going to be the sack. Yes, you might talk about the fact that the way the sack went about wasn't really the best, because to me, before you tell the coach that you are suspended or you are sacked, what happens? You must see the coach. You must talk with the coach that this is what's going to happen. And if you're saying that you're suspending him and the coach comes and says that online, I don't know about it, then the coach has a problem too. Because it was duly signed and put on the club's website. So how can you tell me that somebody hacked the website of a club and put that information there that you don't know about it? So it's I just feel like the two parties need to come to agreement, and rightly so. Jimmy said it clearly. Coach Ndoko and Coach Ndene cannot function as two coaches simultaneously. Remember that Coach Tete was brought in as not a coach, but a fitness and a physical operator. So he had his own function. Yes. And when you're bringing Coach a venerated Joseph Ndoko, somebody who has coached the Indomitable Lioness of Cameroon, and you're saying that this person should go be giving his expertise, co-assisting. Yes. Then who is bringing in the information? Then it becomes a problem. So I think the rightful thing has to be that Coach Lenny May is giving the sack, because I don't see him coming back as a coach at the moment. Because even his outings on social media, to me, if I'm the person in charge of that club, there's no way I'm bringing Coach Lenny May back. Yes, you cannot be under suspension and you go about tarnishing the club that you think that you want to come and coach the club again. It doesn't work like that. There's never a day you're going to say, okay, Vincent Kompany, you're giving suspension, and then Vincent Kompany goes and harasses and says bad things about the club. Then you think that Burnley will come and say that no, okay, your suspension is finished, continue your work. It's never going to happen. So I think Coach Len Eme should know that he has erred. Isosa too has erred. They should just look for a meaningful, amicable solution to whatever problems that they have and solve the issue. Because, like Jimmy says, there's no way that Len Eme is going to come back as a coach of Isosa. So I think that's the only bad aspect that we've been seeing at the moment from Isosa. But I'm still optimistic about the fact that Isosa will finish amongst the top four. Like I said earlier and previously, the league this year is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Finish among the top four, and the next stage, that's what I like Cotton Sport. The next stage are always beautiful. They always come back guns blazing, and they finish, they win the league. They don't always take things seriously when it comes to the first round, but when it comes to the second phase, when the league is involved, then you see Cotton Sport coming up all guns blazing. So I think the next game is very crucial. Remember that they're already in Bamenda at the moment. They'll be playing their game tomorrow against Rangers of Bafoué. They hammered 5-0 or so in Limbe. And after that game, the Secretary General of the Northwest Fekafo Bureau and Mr. Elvis made it categorically clear that Isosa, this scoreline will not be observed in Bamenda. and I want to see how
Tomorrow is gonna
tomorrow
look
is going
like
to be. Because it was very clear that he was very disappointed
yes.
as to that
that
the
result.
amount of that you. Then I looked at him. I was like, the way he's sad, it showed that things were not really moving.
No, but
And he promised that it's not going to happen. And we're hoping that
tomorrow it's a
is going
different
to
thing.
be a good day for us
Equally.
from the southwest. But it's going to be bad because we don't want to see Rangers continue to have defeat without even one victory. Remember
Boris
that we have
Osono,
gone.
where are you?
No,
Boris, where
my
are you?
allegiance first of all is the southwest.
Okay.
Before I move to the
Then
northwest,
no,
because
it's
I'm
okay.
equally from
It's
the
okay.
northwest.
You are for the southwest.
I'm split. In as much as I want Isusa to win, but I equally want Rangers to let's give them one victory now. For
No.
10 games, 11 games, you're not succeeding in picking up even a victory.
Just to cut you short,
So,
I remember
yeah.
vividly that game at the Centenary Stadium. After the first 45 minutes of the game, I think it was about 3-0 that Isosa was leading, and you found the players of Rangers grumbling that it is because they don't want to leave others to play. You find the Francophone guys especially crying foul to that, and we are asking ourselves, maybe that internal problem that they told us, even the coach himself made it clear to the press that the team has an internal issue, and maybe that internal issue has not yet been fixed, and that is why the team has continued to record poor results. But
Not really so.
we will leave that.
Not really so, Sonita. I
Okay.
think I've had a chance to read comments and from our colleagues in the Northwest on how this team is playing, and they've confided in me that they are playing well, but unfortunately things haven't really gone well, and you can't really trace where the problem is. Probably the striking department, because they're not scoring the goals and they're conceding way too much number of goals. So probably the striking department and the defense compartment has a problem, and we're hoping that these things are going to be. So remember that they went to church to want to.
We also
Yeah, that's what we're saying. So
and,
it's not
and
like
the
there's
first game after
internal
coming to
problem.
church, they were defeated.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to see beautiful football. A draw to me will be a good result, but a draw might not be the good result for Isusa, because Pantel, like I said, has just 2 points behind Isusa. So Isusa has everything to play for in this particular game, and the next 2 games after this for Isusa is crucial. Remember, they have 2 home games against Dragon and against UMS in Limbe. So these 2 games, Eding. These 2 games are very, very crucial to see if they're going to finish amongst the top 4.
Boris Osono, you are not telling us whether you are for Isusa or you are for Rangers. But
Like
anyway,
I said,
tomorrow we are wishing
I see a
Icelovo.
victory for
Icelovo.
Isusa. Probably I give Conrad Juma a goal because he wants to finish as the top scorer. He's with 6 goals, and there's another guy too with 6 goals at the moment as far as the league is concerned. So there is very much everything being equal. The top goal scorer in Chad is equally very impressive to me, because there's a lot of fight going on. Elite 1, Elite 2 equally. Jules Amanko 11 goals, Richmond G 9 goals, Elite 2 Conrad Juma 6 goals, Florent Fongmo of Njiko 6 goals, and we have Hamidou Issa of Njiko 6 goals. So there's a real battle that is ongoing. Who wins the league? Who wins the top goal scorer chart?
And that we are going to allow just after the season for us to discover who from both the MTN Elite One Championship is going to back home with the golden boot in terms of goal scoring. And that is it from the roundup of the year, the good and ugly, and equally the new babies, Takobala Isosa, Bakman United and Victoria United. Please, the question in terms of the quiz, I'm having a lot of responses, but you are not respecting the rules. After giving the number of home-based coaches that are going to be involved in the AFCON, I am saying that list 4. Give me 4 of their names and not the other countries like how I am saying it. And that is it. I said let me just rectify the quiz, yes, because it's actually tricky and I'm having responses that you are not following on the right track. I'm not giving the answer. But we are going to take on this jingle break, and when we come back we are going to close the quiz because it's past time, and equally we are going to be talking on the last topic of today in terms of one of predictions for Rigobert songs list tomorrow. is it in terms of the two topics of discussion today. Let me start with Jamie Ateke for the third topic of discussion today. But before that, the quiz has been closed. Any answer past 721, I am not going to collect because the answers today, I'm not seeing anybody winning the very big package from High Sports Crew this evening. Jamie Ateke. Tomorrow, Thursday, 28th of December 2022, Coach Rigobert Song is going to unleash the list of players that are going to be traveling to Saudi Arabia. Prediction, who do you think is going to be part of this list?
Well, normally you look at the list, it's going to be hard to call for him and his assistant to get the troops for the Cote d'Ivoire expedition. But you know that the goalkeepers normally doesn't really have a problem. That's why look at now the defense. Look at the defense. Yes, we should see the likes of Christopher O, Castellito, Nuhu, Dali Yongwa. I think he should not be looking forward to like do a kind of if he can put Dali Yongwa and Nuhu on the same lineup, it could be better because Dali Yongwa is a good driver when it comes to the left flank. And then you look at the midfielders, Bueno is not there, and I think he should be looking forward to seeing that Njekisi comes in to like play that role which Bueno will play, maybe coming from the left, from the right. Gonje also can play from the right, and use maybe Katoko and Abubakar, and then Chupu behind Abubakar. But for the midfielders, Zambo should be always there. Jam Olivier, those are people who qualified us for the AFCON, and so you really see the trend of people who are coming. Yes, there could be added people. Like the guy quite in Lyon also who came in alongside the man from Stoke City. So those could be, that could be the additional players coming in to make their first appearance at the level of the AFCON. But we were like trying to say that we can't place a blind eye to the issue of Martin Hongla. I think that's a player who has been playing consistently out there in Spain, and he was overlooked by the coach. Where we've seen how his performance have really impacted out there in Europe. He has been one of the most consistent when it comes to his league out there in Europe. And so the fact that he was overlooked and he had to took on social media for why he was abandoned in his father's funeral, and so I think that should not be. And then there was kind of issue of Meleke Basak, kind of those were just gossips, but that should not in any way affect a player's call-up, because you go for the best when it comes to the AFCON.
Definitely.
Martin Honla has been a humble servant when it comes to the national team. He has been always been giving his all, and he's one of the informed midfielders we have. And so, giving a blind eye to such a player, but we've already had the provisional list. So we are looking for tomorrow. Like I said, Olivier Ncham, Bazambo, and the other guy Onana, those are players we look up to. So actually get even a level of the home-based players. I'm surprised that a player like Anon Kwo is not part of
the list,
because he's the present highest goal scorer of the championship, and we don't have Nje Richmond. But they prefer to take Wilfred Nathan, who was limping in the proposed last game. So you come to realize that all this things goes back to the theory which Hugo Bruce told us about Cameroon in 2017. While he was coach of South Africa, he made mention of the fact that 2 years ago, when he was coach in South Africa, he said about 50 agents called him to say, put my player in. And he made allusion to Cameroon and said that was the same thing he was told to do in 2017, where he had that same pressure, but he stood his grounds and worked with the 23 friends which he called then and won the AFCON. So I think this is what Robertson is going through.
Very true.
When you talk of coaches, this is the time of AFCON where you have to market players. You have to make players have exposure, and you must have kind of pressure from agents, from club presidents, from ministers, whosoever, to call a coach, hey, this is my player, put him in this team, and the players, they know what they gain and what their initiator actually gains from the bonuses and so forth. So these are, because a right-wing coach cannot overlook a person like Martin Honda and Chemalong. I think Chemalong, we should say it clearly, being at the defense of Cameroon is going to be an added advantage. But when you have such midfielders, such defenders left out, whereas we are supposed to take the best of the best to the AFCON, then it becomes a problem. So tomorrow we just have to do with what we have, because we can't go and call another set again. We have to choose from our 35 professionalists, and I think Rigobert Song Bana knows the players he's going to call. But like I said, the players are mentioned at the attack. I think this is the time he has to play now, since we're more absent. If he wants to play a counter-attacking game, then play Danny Yongwa and Nuhutolo. One person should be on the attack. Maybe Nuhutolo should be the defense man. Change your formation, maybe 4-4-2, and put Danny Yongwa and Nuhutolo to play on one line. Then look forward to look at with the wingers, because now we can't play from the midfield. We now know that our football is always long balls. Now, if you can blend something, Danny Yongwa and Nuhutolo play on one line in the starting lineup, then maybe the guy who played the right back against Burundi and maybe Jekinson, start get those crosses. Why the passes are just there to be passing, but because we don't have that creativity where you say Buemo can find those spaces. So Choupo-Moting, yes, he's aging, but we can't really rely on him for those passes. But now some knows that Cameroon's strength is the crosses. So build something that can give those crosses and let the players score. So we just hope to have the best list. Other countries have produced theirs, so we have to produce. Cameroon is one of those countries where they have good marketing. They market the AFCON. We talk of countries that market the AFCON. We talk of Cameroon, Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana. Those are countries where they are anxiously waiting for them to produce their final list. Is aired almost in big platforms like what we have last time around. Super Sport broadcasted our list of during the World Cup. So Cameroon has that that weight in Africa. So everybody is anxiously waiting. We'll see what he has to offer.
Only coach, and now like this, only coach Rigobert Song has the plate, the knife, the spoon, and the meal itself. Boris Sono, who do you want to see in the list that is going to be released by Coach Rigobert Song Bahana tomorrow?
Well, first of all, the list, the list is for the AFCON. The list is not necessarily for the friendly game that comes up against Zambia. We have just one friendly game against Zambia and Saudi Arabia. And then the first game that we have is on the 15th of January, which is the AFCON itself. We are playing Guinea on the 15th of January. So the only friendly game we have comes up against Zambia and Saudi Arabia, and after that we have our first game. Jamie has elucidated everything. I asked the question, why do you bring Frank Aksama in the list of 54 and you leave Chemalong? So that's for the coach to look at it. We cannot change it again because it has been done. We can only cry foul, and we hope that the next list that will be done in terms of the World Cup, we'll get to see the players that have been performing, because they are performing. You cannot tell me that Chemalong is not performing. He's doing his work. You cannot tell me that Jules Amanko is not performing. You cannot tell me that Richmond G is not performing. You leave Richmond G and you go for Lionel Atiba. Ask myself a question, is it political or what? Because you cannot tell me that people who are providing you the goals, and we've been crying foul about goals in terms of Cameroon, but you leave them and you go for another player who scores about 5 or so, leaving another player who scored 9 goals for Richmond G and 11 for and you take a certain Nathan. I have nothing against Nathan, please. Nathan, he's a good midfielder.
I think Nathan comes in at the midfield.
That's what I'm saying.
Because our midfield has a problem.
But I think if you want to look at the final list, I'll be surprised, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan is amongst it. Because we are allowed 27 players. You can call 23 or call 27. I'll be surprised if Nathan is inside, because I don't feel like he gives what the others can give. Like I said, it's only my opinion. I'll be
It's your
surprised
judgment.
if he's there. But Nathan is a good player. Take nothing away from him. You watch this guy, you see quality of how he can handle. But you want to start adding the midfield of the generals that we have, then I think Nathan maybe still has a long way to go. But I think the goalkeeping department is already sure. The three personalities, Andre, the cousin, Ondua, and
don't call Simon, please. Okay, I thought you wanted to call Simon.
Simon, the other name that takes you a long time to pronounce. No, the guy, I keep asking myself, why do you...
Definitely, why do you keep calling somebody?
Sometimes I'll just leave it at that, because I want to start saying now.
That's why I said don't call Simon.
A lot of complications which I don't want to enter inside. But I think the midfield equally, we have his name is already there, Zambo and Gisa on the list. Up front, the key players are already there.
Kunde, I think Kunde too.
No, I'm not going to call Kunde. Clinton Jet, to me, I have Katoko Ikambi. I equally have Vincent Bubaka. I equally have Eric Maxim Chupomoto, who to me I see should be his last called up, because the guy is warming bench, not even playing. And then the left back, I'm happy for Fai Collins. Okay. No, I have to be honest with myself. I'm happy that Fai Collins has gotten the club, but I ask myself a question: is it worth calling a guy who hasn't played for 5 months simply because of the fact that we know that he can give a cross? That's the question that we people should have, because we're not saying that Fai Collins cannot give the cross, but do you go for somebody who hasn't played for 5 months, more than 5 months? The last club was in July.
Boys, he has been training.
Training and playing is two different things. The worst one was
he has been playing.
The worst one was that you call Fai Collins without a club. That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. To call on a provisional squad Fai Collins and you put there without a club. See, sometimes we have to be serious. No, I have nothing against the call up. Fai Collins is a good player, excellent player when he was playing. Fai Collins has been training, no doubt. But you cannot call. Okay, take for example, just that we don't have good left back. That's the good thing that gets Fai Collins in the list tomorrow. And Fai Collins is on the list tomorrow. No, I'm talking about the 54 players that have been called up.
49.
Most of them cannot go with Fai Collins.
Is it Beleki?
Gombe? No. They've been using him out of position.
No, but he has been doing well. As far as he can play that way, why don't you exploit him? Bekele, he can play it in Fai Collins.
But is that what the coach? No, we're looking at what the coach wants to go with. It cannot be possible. So the system that coach Robertson is using doesn't want Bekele to be in that position. And that's why I say even when Fai Collins was not called up, who was being put there? Darling Yongwa. Because he cannot even give. So there are things that Coach Robertson will go with Fai Collins to meet more, and people should not be surprised to see Fai Collins' name there, because of the system that coach wants. Is the system that favors Vincent Boubacar the crossing. And to me, that's my 5 or so players who I see as being there. And the other person that will benefit from Brian Bemo is Faris Pemamba.
Yes.
Faris, to me, I see him as the person who will take Brian Bemo's position, because in the friendly games that we had and he played, I think he shown his word. And even with his side Stoke, he's still showing his word. So I think it's one person that, to me, if I want to bring another person from Brian Bemo's position, I'll go with Faris.
No, Faris maybe Faris is a pointer. He's not a winger. He can't play the wings. Is this Tony of Italy? He's that kind of a player who plays as a pointer. But Chamajo of Stoke City, I think he showed some quality against Burundi and Libya. So he might be a competition to Fai Collins. You see, Rigoberto Bana, he knows we know our strength. We can't play at the midfield. Our midfield is so dominant. We pass the ball, but those pieces are not there. So those crosses, Danny Yongwa can drive. We saw his cross in the game against Burundi. Hutolo is physical. So
defense.
He can play now. There will be that confusion, that call to play Njeklinton at the right for what to replace Buemo. That's why I think Njeklinton will be the one to do that for sure, because he's the only winger that we have. We have to play 3 attackers. Njeklinton comes in. Now Tuko plays at the left. But now we are looking for a winning strategy where one person has to be on the bench, because now we need somebody. We need those crosses to come in. Those crosses are so important for Cameroon when it comes to our football. But however, most of those players who were called, we are still smashing our teeth as where this Robertson Mahana actually reason to get this list. Most of the players, when you see them being called to the national team, I think it is really pressure.
Tomorrow will tell.
Anyway, exactly, Boris Esono. Tomorrow we tell, and yes, we are past time according to our studio clock here to be on the show. And let me just read some of the comments that we have in terms of the quiz for today, where this particular one says, "Good evening, I am Angel Lipanya Esunge in Boya. There are 11 home-based coaches going with their nations to the upcoming AFCON, with Group C involving 3 home-based, Cameroon, Senegal, Guinea, as well as Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau in Group A. I'm sorry to say, but the answer was not gotten right, and we're having serious connection problems here, so you bear with me not to read the other comments. But to the answer, there are 13 local coaches that will be involved in the African Cup of Nations. Home-based coaches. I will talk about Aliou Cissé, Senegal, Rigobert Song from Cameroon, and Jamal Belundia from Algeria, and Jale Gadril of Tunisia. That is what we requested from you in terms of the quiz for today on the last edition of High Show over High Television in terms of 2023. Jamie, take care. Thank you very much. And before you go, maybe you wish a happy new year to some of your family members.
Well, normally I wish a happy new year to my grandmother, Christiana Antumbe, and my sister, Lisa Punduma, Seda Pasiayo, and to all my family members, my other brother who is in the house. And so, well, it has been a wonderful year, and 2023 has come and gone, just a few days to go, and we hope that 2024 comes in with much more goodies.
Definitely, and thank you for always answering our call when we call.
Yeah, normally with your department gives us work, so we have to succumb to their work, but hopefully next year, since there are not so many courses, next semester
definitely
so many courses, so
AFCON is coming up.
Yeah, Cameroon is playing 15 and we are getting first paper.
Oh my God. Anyway, Boris Esono, it's been a pleasure having you on set always, and maybe you will want to wish some of your family members a happy new year in advance.
Thank you very much, Sonita. First of all, happy new year 2024 to the management of High TV. The troubles hasn't really been plain sailing. There hasn't really been a bed of roses all through this year. Challenges left, right, center with the boss, Mr. Enoa Humphrey Ayuk, Mr. Nda, and the others out of the country, putting their hands on deck to make sure that High TV continues to go at another level. To the broadcaster, to the Tanfo Claudine, to the new editor-in-chief, Alice Likier, former personalities here, Kemanjoku, Enoegbe Chevrolet, to you, Guy Benita, not living out my man, like Kevin, and to my other colleagues elsewhere, Happy New Year 2024. And to the person who failed to give me a chew on Christmas Day, Happy New Year 2024.
Continue.
And to this special lady who is in the studio here, when she started, she was a baby, but now she has gone to a level where is a level of the John Champion. We're talking about Sonita Ngoni. Happy New Year to you, and happy birthday to you. She will be +1 tomorrow. We celebrate you on High Sports. We celebrate you on High Television. We celebrate you in the sports milieu. We celebrate you in Cameroon, and we wish you long life, plenty money.
Amen.
We wish you success in your master's program, and we wish that you 2024 will finish with us celebrating good achievement as far as education life is concerned. So I will leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Boris Esono, for the birthday wishes, and thank you very much to all the fervent viewers of High Television, and equally a very happy New Year to my high sports lovers that are always there every morning, be it at the morning show and equally on High Sports. So why not always be there to listen and watch me and give them the sports updates. And it is with this particular happy new year in advance that I get to draw the curtains of High Sport this evening. I am Sonita Nguni. See you next year, and we will be talking AFCON when we come back. Bye bye and happy new year.